Okay, so 7.1, acute is less than 90 degrees. Right is exactly 90 degrees. Obtuse is 91 degrees to 179 degrees. So it has to be more than a right angle, and it has to be less than 180 degrees. Tell me if you can't see my document camera, because I'm actually on your textbook, so I can't see what I'm sharing on my... Okay. And then a straight angle is always 180 degrees. So that's the first part. And then we have adjacent angles, which are angle 1, angle 2, angle 3, angle 4. These are adjacent. They're next to each other, and 3 and 4 are adjacent. Vertical angles are opposite one another. So this angle is vertical to this one, and this one is vertical to this one. And they're always congruent. So whatever this is, this is. Whatever this is, this is. So in our example we just did, before I started recording, we had an angle of 70 degrees here, and then they asked you what degree this vertical angle was, and we know because they're vertical angles, this one's 70, so this one is 70. So x equals 70 degrees. If they asked us how much this was right here, this right here is a straight line, as is this. So we know that this plus this has to equal 180 degrees, because that's what a straight line is. And so if this is 70, we would do 180 minus 70 equals 110 degrees. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. For a right angle, if they ask you, this is 31 degrees, what would this be? We know that this equals 90 degrees, so we would do 90 minus 31 to get our answer. Sometimes they're going to do something instead of just this. They're going to give you an equation that looks like this. 31 degrees, and then on this part they're saying x plus 4 degrees. So what you're going to do is write the whole equation out. So we have x plus 4 plus 31 equals, how many degrees is this? It's 90. If it was a straight angle, it would be 180, but since it's a right angle, we know that's 90 degrees. So the first step is to write the equation, and the second step is to combine like terms. So we know the numbers go together, and it is x plus what?
Like 35.
Yep, equals 90. Now we have an algebra problem. They're adding 35, so what do you do?
Minus it.
And what you do to one side, you do to the other. And then we do 90 minus 35. X equals 55 degrees. So you just take everything that they give you, write it as an equation. The equals is going to be the degree of the angle. If it's not 90 degrees, suppose it was like this, and it said 31 degrees, we can always measure the angle. Right? So this is 110 degrees, and then say they did the same thing, x plus 4, you would just write it out. X plus 4 plus 31 equals 110 degrees. And then you combine like terms, x plus 35 equals 110. They're adding 35, you subtract 35. And whatever you do to one side, you do to the other. So this one, x would equal 75 degrees. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. On to the next piece. If you are drawing an angle, so suppose they want you to draw a 40-degree angle. You are going to line up your protractor. You're going to make a dot right here. You're going to make a dot right here. And then there's one of your lines. There's another of your lines. And then you're just going to line it up and make sure you did it. To measure an angle, suppose they had an angle that looked like this. You're going to line it up right here. You're going to make sure this is straight so that this line is on this line and that the corner right here is on your circle. And then you're just going to extend it out like this. Okay, so this says that it's either 50 degrees or 130 degrees. And sometimes we use the outer, sometimes we use the inner measurement. But this is an obtuse angle, right? So we know for sure that we're not using the 30 degrees because, or sorry, the 50 degrees. So are we using the inner or the outer? This is the outer, this is the inner.
The inner.
So it's 130 degrees. If the angle, this is going this way. If the angle is going in the other direction, meaning they started it on this side, you're going to line it up there. You're going to make sure this bottom is lined up. Are we using the inner or the outer? So it's either 70 degrees or 110 degrees.
70.
Yep. Do you have any questions about that?
No.
Okay, I'm just going to continue on. They asked you to draw a pair of vertical angles with a 25 degree. So how would you do that?
Would measure 25 degrees.
Mm-hmm.
And then would you just do the opposite on the other side, or
25 degrees. So your first step is to do the line like this, 180 degrees, and then you're going to measure in the middle, 25 degrees. Make sense?
yeah?
Okay, so it's only on 7.1 and 7.2.
Yeah. Let me see. I have.
Okay, so complementary angles equal 90 degrees when you add them up. So if you had a pair of angles and one was 30 degrees and one was 60 degrees, that would be complementary. If you have two angles that equal like 135 and a 45 degree angle, and that equals 180, then it would be supplementary. If it does not add up to 90 or supplementary, then it would be neither. Do you remember we did that?
Yeah.
Okay. And then 7.3 is triangles. So there are a few different types of triangles that they're going to ask you to classify: an acute triangle, an obtuse, a right, equal angular is going to be one of the classifications, and the other classification is this is going to go by angle, and then this is going to go by the sides, and that is if they're congruent or not. So this is going to be a scalene, an isosceles, and an equilateral. So you're going to pick one of these and one of these. And the angle is, do you remember what an acute angle is?
Yeah, your screen's frozen.
It's not.
Yeah, it's like frozen on the thing that we just
Okay.
out there.
So the acute is all acute angles. And we remember, what is an acute angle?
Less than 90.
Mm-hmm. And what is an obtuse?
More than 90.
Yep. And what is a right?
90.
And what is an equal angular?
180.
So all three sides are equal. This one, I can't draw triangles very well. I'm sorry. This would equal a right angle, and then an obtuse would be kind of like a long one, and an acute would be like this. The congruent sides, a scalene has no congruent sides. An isosceles has two congruent sides. And remember, we know because it'll show lines like that. And an equilateral has all three sides are equal. For a triangle, we always add the angles up. So if this is 45 degrees and this is 45 degrees, what is this? We would do 45 plus 45 equals 90. And we know that all the sides added together, this plus this plus this, have to equal 180 degrees. Oops. So if these two equal 90 and we need all three sides to equal 180, then we do 180 minus 90. This side must equal 90. I would go over 285 all the way for the rest of the chapter. We had already gone over it, but we don't have time to do it today. Go over it before tomorrow's test and just skim through to make sure that you understand it.